heads off the kangaroos.
I've never seen anything like that before.
But a key suspect has been dead for over 75 years. It's code red in a Californian harbor.
I said we have thousands of fish in the harbor. 2 or 3 minutes after that, I said we have hundreds of thousands of fish in the harbor. And by the end of it all, we had millions of fish in the harbor.
Fish are running scared. Do they sense something?
Hope I never have to see something like that again.
A community in Minnesota has become a ghost town.
You know, it just doesn't look right. The herons colony looks very, very quiet.
Right at the base of the tree was the severed head of a great blue heron chick. So I was very interested to see what actually happened in the nest.
Find out the answers to this and more of the world's strangest mysteries on Wild Case Files. Australia, Loch Sport, the state of Victoria. The small coastal town is home to only 800 people. It's under siege by a brutal killer. Kangaroo corpses litter the roadside with signature injuries.
I've never seen anything like that before.
It was torn to pieces, or, ripped to shreds.
The killer remains unidentified. One investigator is closing in on the perpetrator, Murray McAllister.
It's really amazing, especially when we don't have any large carnivores in terms of lions or anything else that's in Australia. What animals could actually be removing the heads off the kangaroos? It's just a big fascination.
Murray has been tracking the mystery beast. He recognizes the hallmarks of a typical killing. These are unusual killings. Each corpse looks disturbingly similar.
The type of carcasses that we've come across are almost like a guillotine has had an impact on the top of the head. It's just been a very clean, precise cut.
Time to question witnesses living near the kill zone. Peter Connell had a clear view of an attack.
I saw a dog-like creature. I thought it was a German Shepherd, but when it opened its mouth to munch on or have a crack at this bush wallaby, I mean, a normal dog will open, say, that far with its jaws to get a bite, where this one come right out and then latched onto it and literally crunch.
Another witness spies the mystery beast up close.
I could see this dog-like creature sort of walking very slowly just up this hill here. It had brown stripes on the back, it had a long tail, had a long head. It was fawney brown in color and the dark chocolate brown stripes. And it stopped it for a minute and looked at me for a minute, walked up a little bit further, had a look around again at me, and just continuously walked very casually up that hill to the back of that other fence. And I just couldn't believe what I had. I was just really in shock.
Based on the evidence, a prime suspect comes instantly to mind. Dingoes. These wild dogs chase their prey with unrelenting ferocity. They circle a flock of sheep, then move in for the kill. They tear at the victim's throat to bring it down. They are the kangaroo's deadliest enemy, but they devour their victims and don't just take the head.
I don't think a dingo would have done this because there would have been a lot of tear marks and rip marks at the carcasses. These appear to be very clean cut in terms of the way that they've actually been amputated from the kangaroo's main body.
Other evidence points to the dingo's innocence. The world's longest fence. Built in 1885, it stretches some 5,300 kilometers across the southeast corner of Australia. It's specifically designed to stop four-footed predators invading from the north.
I think it'd have to be some other sort of predator that's had a go at these type of carcasses. You know, it's got to be a large predator that has the ability to just sort of take the head off with a massive jaw capacity.
A composite image emerges that highlights several unusual traits. The mysterious creature's jaw hinges like a snake's. Fawny brown fur, like a deer. And the stripes of a tiger. No Australian animal alive matches this description. But these features fit a native species that vanished over 75 years ago. The thylacine, alias the Tasmanian tiger, now extinct. This thylacine was filmed in a Tasmanian zoo in 1933. It's supposed to be the last one on Earth. Thylacines differ from most carnivores. They're marsupials. Like kangaroos, they raise their young in a pouch and are exclusive to Australia. Murray has been fascinated by the thylacine for well over a decade. He has drawn up a controversial theory.
I don't think the thylacine is extinct at all. You know, I've had 20-odd sightings over my 12 years of research, and that keeps driving me. I wouldn't be doing this for 12 years if I didn't believe that the thylacine wasn't around.
Murray believes he's caught fleeting glimpses of the suspect on camera.
It was only a very small snippet of footage that we were able to obtain. So it's not conclusive enough. It's got to be in the right spot at the right moment, and I'm pretty confident that we will get what we want to get.
In Murray's mind, the dead kangaroos and their peculiar injuries indict the thylacine. It's believed the Tasmanian tiger's powerful jaws open up to 90 degrees. They could clamp their teeth around the neck of a kangaroo and shear the head clean off.
Taking the heads off the kangaroos is one of the unique traits of the thylacine. They tend to, they're very clean. They don't tend to have much blood around the carcass either, so they lap up some of the blood as a nutrient.
The Tasmanian tiger's life is mysterious, and not just because no one's seen one for 75-odd years. Records from the 1800s describe the elusive animal as extremely shy and solitary. Catherine Medlock is an expert on the thylacine.
The thylacine was a mostly nocturnal animal, and it would have hunted basically any marsupials, any other animals smaller than itself. The thylacine stalked its prey for quite a long time and then wore it down and then killed it.
The arrival of large numbers of Europeans led to violent clashes with the thylacine, and eventually the Night Stalker's demise.
Tasmania was very keen to get a wool industry started for economic reasons. So when there were sheep losses, the thylacine was blamed, and quite outrageous claims were made about the thylacine attacking and killing sheep.
The government put a price on the tiger's head. Half a week's wages per scalp.
Well over 2,000 animals were killed under this scheme. Their bodies were taken to the police stations where the bodies were destroyed, and that was really the beginning of the end for the thylacine.
It was hunted to near extinction. In July 1936, the species received official protection, but it was too little, too late. In less than 2 months, the last thylacine died. Now, over 75 years later, Murray's investigation suggests this may not have been the last Tasmanian tiger.
Right throughout the entire country, there's been these sporadic sightings that are actually coming through, which is really good, encouraging sign that they might be on a bit of a resurgence on mainland Australia.
You can't ignore what people say, but there's a lot of other factors there that need to be taken into account. We haven't any evidence of thylacines existing on the mainland, so it's extremely unlikely that there's thylacines there.
Remarkably, extinction may not be forever. A third of mammals declared extinct in the past few centuries have been found alive. In Africa, the okapi vanishes from Congo's national park in 1959. This zebra-striped relative of the giraffe suddenly reappears 47 years later. Even in Australia, animals believed extinct do reappear. In 1937, the shy, bridled nail-tailed wallaby goes missing. Over 35 years later, a fencing contractor stumbles on a large group living in a secluded corner of a ranch in Queensland. Any Tasmanian tiger surviving outside captivity would need a place to hide out. And around Loch Sport, the killings continue. The tiger hunts possums and scavenges fish. Loch Sport has a vast belt of wetland. This is where the dogged detective's persistence is finally rewarded.
We had the camera and we were scouring the lake and we saw a number of kangaroos and everything out there. And then out to the glimpse to the right-hand side of the camera, we saw this unusual animal trotting around amongst the tussock grass and just sort of wandering around an area. So we managed to pan the camera over into that area.
Murray's footage captures a fast-moving creature in the distance. Under magnification, he makes out what may be stripes. For the investigator, the way the animal moves proves critical.
The early settlers used to say that they used to bound or gallop like a lion, and that's what I seem to think that I might have taken on that day, when it actually galloped and bound the last few strides that it actually took before it disappeared into the bush.
Murray pursues the trail into the wetlands to search for corroboration. Soft ground can yield hard evidence. Paw marks.
We've come across a number of footprints in certain areas. Some of the footprints are virtually the size of your hands, your two thumbs and your two pointing fingers put together. So they're fairly large prints.
Thylacine paws are unlike those of dogs and foxes. Murray believes plaster casts made at kill sites show distinct differences.
This is one that I'm pretty convinced that it is a Tasmanian tiger print because of the elongation of the toes. Okay, dogs tend to have a very round type of toe, and even cats and that, they're very round in terms of their pads that they've got.
Thylacine prints are distinctive. They're larger than a fox paw. The rear pad appears bigger than a dog's. And thylacine toes are long, with claws permanently extended. Let's review the evidence. Scissor-toothed jaws that stretch unusually wide.
I really think that taking the heads off the kangaroos is one of the unique traits of the thylacine.
Film of an unknown animal bounding across the grass. Footprints that don't appear to match any native living animal. But proof that an